Welcome back to my channel. In this video I'll be showing you how to make some Seekh Kebab with homemade naan. Check out the description box below for the full measurements and ingredient list. So we're going to begin by making the naan dough. For this, add the yeast into the water along with the sugar and mix really well to get rid of any lumps. And then leave aside for a few minutes. Next, you want to place the plain flour into a bowl. I'm using plain flour, but you can also use whole wheat flour. And then to this I'm going to add in the salt, baking powder, black onion seed, also known as Nigella, yogurt, and then I'm going to add in a bit of ghee or melted butter you can also use, and then add in the water and yeast mixture from before. Using a spoon or a spatula, you then just want to give this a really good mix and bring the dough together. As you can now see that the dough is starting to come together, once most of the flour has been incorporated, what you then want to do is use your hand and then knead this for a good few minutes. Make sure to scrape down any mixture from the sides of the bowl and at the bottom and incorporate this into the dough while you're kneading. You then want to flour a clean worktop with some flour and then empty this dough out onto the worktop. And then you just want to give this a really good knead until it's nice and smooth. If the dough is becoming sticky, what you can do is you can use a bit more flour on your hands just to make sure that it doesn't stick to the worktop. After a few minutes, the dough should be really nice and smooth. You then want to place a little bit of oil back into the same bowl and then add the dough back in and just make sure that the oil is really nicely covered. And then you want to cover and leave this to rise for at least 2 hours. So whilst the dough is left to rise, you want to begin by preparing the kebab mixture. The ingredient list for this is also in the description box below. Place the meat into a bowl and make sure that it's been finely ground. You then want to add ghee. This is going to make the kebabs really soft and juicy. If you don't have ghee, you can use melted butter. Then I'm going to add in the salt, chili powder. You can adjust this depending on how spicy you like the kebabs. And then I'm going to add in Tandoori masala. I'm also adding in some Chapli kebab masala for extra taste, and some Garam Masala, Coriander Powder, freshly ground ginger and garlic. It's best to use fresh for the best taste, and some ground onions and chillies with all the water squeezed out. It's important to do that, otherwise your kebabs will break, and 1 beaten egg. And lastly, I'm going to add in some gram flour and some freshly chopped coriander. Using your hand, you then want to mix all these ingredients in really well with the meat. It's best to give it a bit of a squeeze to make sure that all the spices and flavours get mixed into the meat really well. So once all the ingredients have been mixed in really well, what you then want to do is give this a really good knead like you're kneading a dough. It's important to do this for a good few minutes, as this will ensure that you have the right texture for the kebabs and they won't break off the skewers. So once you've kneaded the mixture, it should look a bit like this. You then want to cover and refrigerate this mixture for at least 2 hours. This is another important tip to make sure that the kebabs won't break. Meanwhile, I'm going to uncover the dough and then I'm just going to knock back the air and knead this dough again for just a few more minutes. So once you've given the dough a good knead, you're just going to leave this again for another 10 minutes before using. You then just want to divide the dough into equal sized dough balls. You can really make any size you wish. You can make small or large ones. And then just flatten out the dough ball and toss in flour before rolling out to your desired size. Just make sure that it's not too thin or too thick. I've also got a pan heating on the side over a high heat, and once you've rolled out the dough to your desired size, what you then want to do is just place the dough on top of the pan and then leave this to cook until it's fully cooked from the bottom and you can start to see the bubbles appear on the top. So once it starts to look like this from the top, what I'm then going to do is transfer this onto a grilled tray and then place under a high heat grill just to cook the top. If you don't have a gas cooker, you can just still leave this onto the pan and just flip over and cook the other side. And then once it's cooked, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to spread some butter on top just to make this really soft. And then you just want to repeat the same process for the rest of the dough. To make the kebabs, you will need some skewers. If you don't have any, you can make your own by joining around 6 bamboo sticks together and wrapping them in foil. Begin by forming a meatball around the size of your palm. You can apply some water to your hands to make it easier. Once you've made the meatball, what you then want to do is just slightly flatten this out to the shape of your hand. And then grab your skewer and place it into the middle and wrap the meat around this. You then want to gently squeeze the mixture between your hand and the skewer evenly. You can use some water to smooth the mixture out. As you're gently applying pressure, you can also turn the skewer at the same time. This will help cover all sides without any gaps. You then just want to repeat the same process for the rest of the kebabs. If you're doing this for the first time, you can make some smaller meatballs and make some smaller sized kebabs, as this will be easier to spread for you. If you find that the kebab mixture is falling off the skewer, you've got too much moisture in your mixture, what you can then do is just you can add some more gram flour and then give it really good knead again, and then start making the kebabs. I'm then going to place the skewers onto a grill tray and then grill these on a high heat for about 4 minutes each side. You can also use these over a barbecue. And then I'm just going to make sure I keep turning them to make sure that all sides are evenly cooked. Make sure that you don't overcook these kebabs, as they will darken once you've taken them out of the grill. Once they're all fully cooked from each side, what you then want to do is brush a little bit of melted butter or ghee. This will just make them really nice and moist and make sure they don't dry out. And then you just want to serve these on top of naan and some salad. If you like this recipe, make sure to like, comment and subscribe. Make sure to press that bell notification so you can be the first to be notified about all my upcoming videos. You can also follow me over on my Instagram page, Food Tips. The link is in the description box below, where I upload all my written recipes. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.